we'll just keep it on you for now. All right. So let's talk a little of let's go a little more WWE second segment. There's a couple other things I didn't mark down, but I do want to mention. So here we go.
This is your WWE champion, Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Stu Myrick, Justin the Smash Simmons. Before we continue on, I want to mention, this week I'm usually in the Super Bowl city. However, due to COVID-19, lack of in-person talent that's going to be there and everything, I did not go to Tampa this year. However, the Horn, we are doing reverse Radio Row. So I will be doing some interviews from here at the Horn Northwest Austin Bureau, a.k.a. the Sports Guys Talking Wrestling World Headquarters. And those will end up on hornfm.com. There's a big splash page with a Super Bowl 55 logo. You can check that out already this week. I've talked to Ross Tucker, who's a former NFL offensive lineman, does a podcast, does some broadcasting work for Westwood One Radio in the NFL. Great conversation with him. And then today, talked to Mark Schlereth, 12 years offensive line in the NFL, played with our good friend Dan Neal. And he's one of the color analysts for Fox in their NFL coverage. So both of those you can find on hornfm.com, as well as I'll have some others throughout the week. I'm scheduled to talk to Brian Billick, who led the Ravens to Super Bowl victory in Tampa. So, it'll be good to talk to him. I've got Solomon Wilcots, who I get to see every year at the Super Bowl. I'll talk to him as well. A couple others. And, of course, you'll hear some interviews on all the different shows, Bucky and Aaron, Light the Tower, Shirts and Skins, and the Triple Option. So check that out, hornfm.com, for all of your Super Bowl content as we get ready for Buccaneers and Chiefs. Goat versus baby goat.
Is there going to be one for this show?
What do you mean?
You're going to have an interview that's going to be running
I
on this show?
wanted to, but unfortunately wasn't able to get anybody. Usually, we see some WWE superstars show up on Radio Row in support of Special Olympics. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to book any of those. They have very limited time, and I was late to the party. So
yeah, we're just not hustling now.
We're not. It's that the energy's not there because you're not there in the midst of everything.
Yeah, I imagine it must be very weird.
Well, like I said, I saw a video from someone that does radio in Tampa. He showed the room where the convention hall where Radio Row is taking place. Now, usually, regular years, you're looking out at 150 to 200 radio stations from across the country, usually the national outlets like NBC Sports, CBS Sports. SiriusXM usually has a big old cove with about 6 or 8 different stands for all of their shows. This time, it was maybe 15 to 20 tables.
So you mean to tell me it looks like the Continental Breakfast at like some rundown motel?
You have that feeling. And everybody's scurrying to get that one really good donut. So yeah, it's a little weird.
Wow.
We mentioned earlier Edge winning the Royal Rumble. So he was on Raw, talked to Drew McIntyre, the WWE champion. He is scheduled to be at SmackDown to I assume to talk to Roman Reigns. Who do you think Edge will challenge at WrestleMania?
I mean, I don't think he wins either way. That's the part that's kind of sad, I suppose. But I think he takes on Drew McIntyre.
Why?
Just because I think Roman's already more over on his own than Drew is.
See, I'm thinking the opposite. Not as much as the fact of being over or whatever, but I think that'd be the reason Edge challenges Roman and beats Roman
Oh wow. I don't think
because of the pop.
I don't think Roman needs to get any more over. I think if you take this
No,
run
this
now,
has nothing to do with getting Roman over. This has to do with what does WWE always talk about? What is their goal? Smiles on people's faces. How do you put smiles on people's faces? Have Edge capture a world title after he had to give up a world title when he retired.
I mean, theoretically speaking, if you kind of just break it down to how stories should work, I mean, Edge would be the overall favorite, so he would have to go against somebody that's supposed to be despised. And I guess Drew isn't despised.
Roman is very well despised. Yeah, you're right. Drew is not despised in the least.
But see, the problem is, at least in my eyes, is like Drew hasn't had that signature win. Yes, he beat Brock Lesnar, but it was in front of no fans. So it kind of feels a little empty still. So he still needs that one moment where he gets to celebrate at WrestleMania against a top-tier opponent. Unless they're going to bring in somebody for him to face that's like Undertaker-like level. And
so Sheamus wouldn't be on that level?
Unfortunately, no. We need somebody.
I think that's probably going to be I think it might be. It'd be hard for them to drag that. Like if we saw Sheamus turn on Drew Monday Night on Raw. I think I think WWE would be like would have difficulty trying to drag that all the way to April.
Like what's John Cena doing right now?
Actually, it's funny because there's been a lot of talk about that, but John Cena is apparently filming something in Vancouver, and because of the COVID protocols, not to mention the restrictions on traveling between the United States and Canada.
Yeah.
He said, I think the quote was, it would be mathematically impossible for him to be at WrestleMania.
Probably so.
So Cena's not going to be there.
Well, you don't think he would make like a little on-screen appearance in like some tape form or something? Because WrestleMania always needs star power.
Okay. He might do a tape thing, but he's not going to be in Tampa.
No. I'm not saying that he would. Like at this point now, he can't be. I mean, right. It's just not
now,
possible.
Would he make a tape thing? Sure, if they want to do that. I mean, there will be limited fans, we think, based on what we're going to see with the Super Bowl. They're letting 22,000 in Raymond James Stadium for the Super Bowl. So my guess is they'll be about the same they get for WrestleMania.
I mean, let's not act overly surprised or anything. We've already had football fans in the stands at UT games and at
well, yeah, I just said they're going to have 22,000 fans at the Super Bowl in that very same stadium.
Yeah, but I'm saying
that's why I'm saying they'll probably have the same amount of fans for WrestleMania.
Yeah, but this is why I'm also saying like no reason to doubt it, because we've already had a full college football season with fans in the stands, plus an NFL season with fans in the stands as well.
I'm not doubting it. There hasn't been an announcement about it.
No, but I'm thinking
I'm just drawing on what I see now.
Yeah, and I'm just adding to that speculation. That's all I'm saying.
But yeah, I think the bigger story would be Edge beating Roman easily.
But I mean, is that the guy that needs to like lead the flagship of SmackDown, which is now kind of what I guess
don't have to lead it. Make it a transitional champion.
For who?
We've seen that before.
Well, who's supposed to be the transitional champion? This is supposed to be
maybe Roman gets it back, and then they plan something for SummerSlam.
Isn't that too short? Shouldn't he have a lengthy run?
Oh, come on. They've had title reigns that last a day.
Yeah, but I mean,
and remember, the titles are just props.
Maybe.
At least the WWE.
Maybe, but those guys are still the ones that close out the show, so it still means something, at least in that regard. And if you're going to go, you know, what makes a good heel is some crushing everybody's hopes and dreams. So I could see, Edge taking on Roman and losing.
Yeah, but they don't do that at WrestleMania.
But I don't think that would be the closing main event of the night.
I don't know what's going to be closing main event, because, we don't know for sure who Edge is going to challenge. So you're going to have 2 men's title matches and 2 women's title matches. And against all logic, there is still some that say Ronda Rousey's going to come back. I don't see it there. I would be shocked.
That's what WrestleMania is for, though.
This this would go against every bit of logic because everything I have seen, everything I've read, Ronda Rousey isn't coming back to WWE.
Sure.
She's done.
Sure. I mean, unless they really feel that they need the extra star power and they're going to drive the dump truck of money.
I don't think they're going to convince her. I really don't. I don't know there is a amount of money that can convince her.
Oh, I think
You think everybody's got a price?
I was like, play the thing.
I don't have that. I don't have that drop. I don't think so. This isn't Brock Lesnar. I don't think she comes back. I think the way she went out the last time, I mean, she turned heel. The heel turn was mainly because the fans turned on her, and she didn't know how to react to that.
Yeah.
So that was the easiest thing to do, just turn her heel.
Yeah, she got the Rock treatment, but the Rock knew how to, like, bounce with it.
That's what I'm saying. She doesn't. And I think that turned her off.
Yeah, which I find hilarious because she would always make those comments like, "Oh, I'm going to show you what real wrestling's like." But then when the reaction, which is very real, got too real for her, then she kind of like backed off and was like, "Whoa, this is not what I signed up for." I'm like, "Okay, so you signed up for the entertainment part, but like and you signed up to be the good guy, but like you don't get to choose if the fans like you or not."
Exactly. So, no, it's not going to be Ronda Rousey. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know. I mean, we know Bianca Belair will challenge, we think, Sasha Banks. And I've heard people that say that's the match they want to see. I don't know. I think it'd be a great match.
I mean, I can see her taking on Asuka, and that would be just like all out, just like probably one of the best matches in all of company history when it comes to the women's side. I
don't know.
I'm not sure if anybody. I mean, what is the top women's match, at least in the last 5 years? I think most people would agree is what is it? Banks, Bailey,
Banks and Bailey from NXT. That takeover in Brooklyn. I think.
Where Bailey wins it.
Yeah,
like that's probably been one of the top matches
easily.
The triple threat match was just because of more of like the show. It wasn't the best wrestled match, but that was like at the end of the night, near midnight, and Becky Lynch,
belts.
Biggest character. So I mean, those are probably some of the more pivotal ones.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think those are. It's hard to say with the current roster the way it looks because. You got Asuka, you got Sasha.
I'm like definitely not giving Charlotte enough credit because she's been like the.
No, I'm just talking about your two belt holders right now, Asuka and you said Charlotte, Asuka and Sasha. Charlotte, that it feels like it's going to be her and Lacey because of her dad. I hope they don't drag that to WrestleMania, but that seems to be the logical route.
Pretty sure that's where it's going.
Yeah.
What's
or
next?
It could be Asuka and Charlotte. I think Asuka could turn on Charlotte because she keeps getting distracted and ends up losing matches for her tag team.
Well, at least that's an easy story to.
That's an easy one. Not to mention you got the rivalry. Not to mention you got Charlotte broke Asuka's streak.
Yeah, you have the history.
And you have history.
And it would be a good match. Like they would just be good.
So, you heard Drew McIntyre bring us in. He's got a book coming out. It is from Gallery Books, which is part of Simon & Schuster. A Chosen Destiny, My Story, by WWE Champion Drew McIntyre. It should come out on May 4th. It highlights McIntyre's incredible life journey from a small village in Scotland to the global spotlight of WWE. From a young age, McIntyre dreamed of being WWE champion. With his parents' support, he trained and paid his dues, proving himself to the small crowds on the UK's Butland circuit. At age 22, McIntyre made his WWE debut and was touted by WWE chairman and CEO Vince McMahon as the chosen one. And talks about, all that goes, his downs and coming back up and all that good stuff. So, A Chosen Destiny should come out on May 4th. It will also be published simultaneously as an audiobook read by Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, I mean, how many number one draft picks, theoretically speaking, how many number one top round picks bust and then are still able to come back later on in their career and fulfill the rest of the destiny.
I mean, yeah, and you saw his career, through the Indies, especially going back to ICW in the UK, and then going through TNA and Impact and Evolve as Drew Galloway, being I think two or three time TNA World Champion.
Yeah.
And then NXT, being an NXT champion. I got the picture over here. He and I.
Yeah.
When NXT came to Austin.
It's like, but it's just like so fun. I mean, it's not funny, but it's just so weird how it worked out, because it's like this guy was supposed to just be straight to the top, and then he ended up having to climb each and every rung, and in some cases really have to hold his position at that rung just to keep on going again.
Well, and if you've heard his story before, you know the struggles he had.
Oh yeah.
So it's someone you really root for, kind of in that same realm as Dustin. What Dustin went through during his run. So I'm so looking forward to seeing Drew McIntyre's book. Obviously, we're going to try to get him on when that happens so we can talk about the book.
Did you catch the special after Royal Rumble
on Yokozuna?
Yes,
I have not. I need to see it.
It was really good.
I've heard really good things showing.
Yeah,
Rodney.
Yes,
Rodney Anoa'i as Rodney Anoa'i as well as Yokozuna.
Yeah, he was so funny, man. He was a good guy.
You hear from guys like Mark Henry and Undertaker and everybody that he was just a fantastic human being behind the curtain. Just funny as can be, loved playing ribs, all that good stuff. So, yeah, I need to watch it. They've got one coming out on the APA. That will be fun.
That will be very interesting.
That'll be a lot of fun. So, a lot of good stuff coming out from WWE here in the months to come. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll let you know what's happening in independent wrestling this weekend and close it out. You're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Let's see, 16, 2240.
Now how would you feel about that, Kevin Owens?
How did I feel about what?
The Kevin Owens Roman Reigns match. Like, it went on for a long time, and man, those guys put each other through hell.
It was a great match that got derailed by them fumbling with the handcuffs.
Oh my god! I mean, did you laugh? Did you laugh when you saw it get stuck, or you cringed and laughed? Right? Yeah. Okay, because you couldn't help it. Because the referee gets knocked out. Logical, very logical, because he pulled him into the thing. And I thought that was smart.
Yeah, made perfect sense.
But then all of a sudden, Paulie sweeps in, can't get it unlocked, right? And he's there fidgeting with it while the other referee is counting. He's like, up to 6, and then he just has to.
No, he counted to 9. He got to 9.
He got to 9
before Roman pulls him into the lighting ring.
No. The other referee.
Oh, the second one.
Yeah, he's just standing there. He's like 5,
and then
6.
You finally see Roman kind of get to his feet, kind of in a bent over position because his hand's still handcuffed.
Yeah, and the camera kind of cuts away from that ref and kind of pans closer, and then he stops counting, and they're just there fidgeting with it. It
was funny.
So does the WWE have an over reliance on handcuffs?
They have over reliance on stuff where they have to do some creative camera work. Let's put it that way.
Oh,
and their creative camera work sometimes gives me a headache.
Does it?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not the only
bouncing up, and all that good stuff. That's one of the biggest problems I have with the Alexa Bliss stuff.
Too much production.
Making doing the wardrobe changes just all of a sudden. It's like, all right, sure.
What'd you think about on a Raw though? That one just didn't look clean at all, right? That cutaway, it was just like.
No.
Oh, it's insert clip here.
Yeah.
I was
basically what it was.
Okay. But did you like the whole blood thing from the face and the distraction and then the end?
It was silly. I mean, it was laughable.
Yeah.
The way you expect. By the way, Randy Orton's face healed quickly, didn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, stem cells,
I guess.
I mean, he vapes, so I think he vaped it back into existence.
Yeah, I suppose. All right, we got to do this one in 5:45. So let's knock this one out. Oh, I got to pull up soundboard.
Who can stop the path of Cage?
What's up, everyone? This is the Wolverine, the Effing Machine, Mr. G. I am South Brian Cage, the Luchador Destroyer. Who better? The answer to that question is nobody. The multi-move paragon, the all-around best. We go on and on and on. But let's stick to it. You guys are listening to the Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the horn. Stu Myrick, Justin Smash Simmons. By the way, happy, I think it's 39th birthday to the Machine.
Wow.
The heavy of Team Taz, Brian Cage.
Wow, yeah. Happy birthday to him.
Yeah. It was always fun to hang out with him at Wrestle Circus and other places. But hopefully Melissa and the little girl can, show him a great birthday. If you're listening to us, the birthday was Tuesday, but happy birthday, no less, to the Machine. We got a couple of events happening this weekend in independent wrestling that we got to tell you about. We're going to start with SWE Fury. They're going to bring you Sweethearts Brawl, their TV taping Saturday at the Southern Junction in Irving. Bell time, 4 p.m. The greatest general manager in all of wrestling, Teddy Long, will be there. The WWE Hall of Famer, Mark Henry, will be there. Our good friend Godzilla Jax Dane will be there. Jazz, Tim Storm, and more. That's SW Fury this Saturday in Irving. And Mission Pro Wrestling presents Wishes Granted Saturday at Pinball's Kingdom in Buda, just south of Austin. Bell time, 7 p.m. Thunder Rosa, Allison Kay, Shaul Guerrero, Rachel Rose, and more. That's Mission Pro Wrestling this Saturday in Buda. And that is a look at independent wrestling around the area. Both events will be implementing COVID protocols, so be safe, wear your mask. But if you feel so inclined, support some independent wrestling this weekend.
So before we end it, Lars Sullivan released today?
The report, I have not seen anything official. However, Mike Johnson, our good friend at PW Insider, did report that Lars Sullivan has been released by WWE. If that's the case, that's got to be the weirdest tenure. I mean, I think there might be fans that have gotten more TV time on WWE than he did.
Maybe. I mean, I know we saw SD Jones a lot more, and he made a WrestleMania appearance.
I mean, he had his ups and downs. He had the big kerfuffle about some of his past social media posts. Was taken completely out. And this was, I think, he was in NXT, about to move to the main roster, and then all this stuff came out, and it was in the midst of the speaking out movement.
Yeah.
So they brought him back. He had maybe 5 minutes and then gone.
Yep.
We hadn't seen him since, and apparently they have cut ties with him. So bye-bye, Lars Sullivan in WWE. AEW, I got to make a correction. The street fight at AEW Revolution, it is not going to be Taz in there. It is going to be Ricky Starks with Brian Cage to take on Sting and the TNT champion, Darby Allin. Are you liking, have you noticed the Bullet Club rivalry, the New Japan Bullet Club versus the AEW Impact?
Oh, yeah.
This has been, it's funny and silly at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, guys, can't you just figure this out? You'll make each other a bunch of money. Just work it out.
Nah,
but at the same time, it's hilarious to watch it
because it's entertaining.
It is entertaining. It is entertaining. Again, I'm not sure it's meant to be, but hey, we're getting laughs out of it, and that's me. It was this time last year when I got to have the Gorillas of Destiny on Radio Row at the Super Bowl. And of course, we know the Bucks. We know the Good Brothers. So,
yeah.
It's a whole tangled web.
Oh, yeah. Stu, even the old-time promoters knew that having legitimate wins was just getting too boring because sometimes those guys didn't have any personality. So even back then, they knew they needed some entertainment in their wrestling.
Yeah, that's the truth. And that'll do it for this week's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. You can follow Justin the Smash Simmons on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at The Smash Simmons. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Stu Myrick. That's STEWMYRICK. You can follow the show on Twitter at SGTWATX. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. We are proud to be part of the great lineup you hear every day. On the flagship station for the Horn, we are the Horn. Catch us Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Central on the Horn. Catch us anytime on demand by going to hornfm.com, click on the On Air tab, or by subscribing to us on your favorite podcast platform. For Justin, I'm Stu. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time tonight. We will see you at the matches.
Goodbye and good night. Bang!
And there we go. And I think we got it in with like 5 seconds left.
Nice.
We'll put in something.
What?
Actually, they don't even mind if it's,
5
within
seconds.
5 seconds we're good.
Yeah, I was going to say the
So.
5 seconds things should be pretty well. I forgot what I was going to ask you because you said that now.
Yeah. So, we didn't have a whole lot of anything else. The Bouncers announced they have re-signed with Ring of Honor. So
I was going to say
good
basically
stuff from
everybody
Malonis
has.
and Beer City Bruiser. Yeah, and that's good. That's good on Ring of Honor. I think that shows a lot of loyalty for what Ring of Honor did in not cutting anybody during the pandemic. They brought everybody back. They had some seriously stringent protocols when they did finally get back to taping TV, working with the State Athletic Commission in Maryland. A lot of the stuff they've done, I mean, it's just so impressive. And we've always been fans of Ring of Honor, but the stuff they're doing now, it's really just so good.
And they always find a way somehow to get like younger.
They do,
because a lot of their older talent they let go. And what's his name, villain Skrull,
Marty Skrull,
right? But then then Dalton was like he didn't want to be there no more, so he didn't resign. So Dalton Castle's not there,
right? I think he's a free agent, but you've got guys like
I guess like the Briscoes.
Brian Johnson. You still got the Briscoes. You still got Shane Taylor. You've got the Sons of Savagery that are with Shane Taylor.
But even Shane, I would say, is a little bit newer as opposed to like that old guard.
You got Matt Taven and Mike Bennett now. OGK back together with Maria. And then you've got guys like Danhausen. You've got Tony Deppen. You've got Dak Draper. You've got some seriously great talent, not to mention the guys that are in La Facción Ingobernales. You got the Foundation guys.
Yeah.
It's
got Roosh.
It's looking really good. Yeah, I think Shane Taylor's supposed to get the next shot at Roosh.
I think so.
And
that would be
it
a hard-hitting match.
It would not surprise me in the least if Shane Taylor finally picks up his first world title.
Are you impressed with how Roosh's title reign has gone? Like, I thought that he might have some issues just because there was going to be a natural barrier between U.S. wrestling fans that weren't familiar with his work, and then him being elevated to the top of the card so quickly. But and for me, he kind of has, and this is more like a video game term, he kind of has that final boss style to him where it's just like, oh, when he just looks like a champion. He wrestles like a champion, and he makes it believable.
I think, and I don't think this is coincidence. I think there's some Tetsuya Naito in him.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
I mean, they were both in Los Ingobernales in CMLL before Tetsuya went back to New Japan and formed Los Ingobernales de Japón. But I think there's a lot of similarities between them. I guess I'm not too surprised. I'm delighted that his title reign has worked, and now of course adding his brother Dragon Lee and now his father into the mix, I think that could make for some good stories.
The one thing I question about his potential in his wrestling career, as a professional is, would the WWE offer him something just because they're always looking for that next Latin superstar? And I say Latin because I would used to say, like, hey, they're just looking for their Rey Mysterio replacement, but they got the best thing possible. They got the son.
They got Rey's son.
And if Dominic is at least 3/4 to half as good as his dad, then that will be good enough, I believe, for the fan base.
I'm sure they would be interested in Roosh. They're always interested in people. I'm not sure they're on a signing frenzy like they were maybe a couple years ago.
No, but they have the cash at hand if they want to use it because they made money during the pandemic.
Right. Of course, also remember they cut a bunch of talent during then. So I don't know that they're looking to sign some guys. I don't know. I really don't.
And then you got all this Peacock money. I was all like, man, they can sign whoever they want whenever they want.
They could. But,
and
again, it boils down to that whole do you want the paycheck or do you want create a little bit of creative freedom? And we've seen guys pick the creative freedom.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just like the WWE limited career you have it's like an NFL style career with a short lifespan if you're not fortunate. If you're fortunate, you could do it forever, almost.
Like a Tom Brady.
But it is few and far between. If you get this opportunity to make big money. I'm not saying that you can't make big money with AEW because obviously they have a national contract. But
you can make big money. Doesn't mean you're be a big name though.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but if you're going to make the most money possible, like you're going to get signed probably to a big contract and such, it's going to be with WWE. So they're
the biggest company.
Yeah, so they only have so many years available on your bump card. So I figure you got to take the money when you're in that profession.
I could see where you do a stint, but I mean the Bucks turned them down. Omega turned them down, and they offered him they probably offered him the moon, but
I'm always in that camp.
That's the whole reason Sting. Remember that's the long told story about why Sting did not sign after they bought WCW. Because Sting was afraid of what they would do with the character.
Yeah, but
we saw it. However many years later, when he finally did sign, he had a couple matches. He loses Triple H at WrestleMania, and now he's with AEW. And from everything you hear, he's happier there than he ever was with WWE.
Oh, I'm sure. But WWE is a big conglomerate now in the grand scheme of things. Like they have not to say that they weren't big before, but now it's like, okay, so you have shareholders, mega deals, mergers, so many TV shows, so many positions that you're fighting for. It's like,
that's been the case for 25 years now. They've been public since the late 90s.
Yeah, but they didn't have like a whole network.
And they're not going to have a network after March. It's going to be on Peacock.
No, they'll still have a network. It just
on
won't,
Peacock. It won't be what you see, the standalone WWE network.
Well, in America,
it'll be a channel on Peacock
in America.
Yeah, until they catch up with the other countries.
But it's no.
Yes,
there's other countries that have WWE network.
They're the biggest company. They've been the biggest company for 30 years. Even when WCW was around, they've still the biggest company. You hear the legends talk about. You always try to get to New York, at least once. Now, whether you stayed there or not, well, that's another story. But again, that's what I'm saying. They could offer them 2 and 3 times what Tony Khan can offer them, and 5 times what Impact will offer them, and 5 times what Joe Kopp and Ring of Honor can offer them. They could do that easily. The kicker is you get that money, and then you're going to end up sitting at home for 6 months because creative got nothing for you.
Yeah, but that's not always like the worst thing to happen.
Okay, a lot of wrestlers I talk to, they hate that.
Yeah.
That's why Brody Lee left and went to AEW. He got tired of sitting at home.
I understand that. I get that. after you make a certain amount of money, it's okay. I get that.
Well, sometimes money isn't the primary thing.
No, it shouldn't be the primary thing. I'm just saying that if you're going to weigh the risk towards your body, towards like the length of career, it's like, no, you got to take the money at least once, and then, you can go and be creative.
I understand that.
But don't say, but I would never say never, because, we could see the Young Bucks in a WWE ring or Kenny Omega.
I have a feeling, I don't know why, but it could happen one day.
Oh, it'll definitely happen at one point in time, and it's just because I think sometimes even no matter how good
I think
friends,
AEW would have to close down first.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Sometimes just friendships just change when like things get into the business end. I mean, this is just off the cuff. This is no
right.
speculation into how they do the dynamic.
Yeah, please don't take this.
Yeah, don't take it like that.
Let's also not forget they're all EVPs, so they're not just wrestlers in AEW. They're also executives.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you could be a showrunner, like, on The Simpsons, which has gone on forever, right? And, like, those guys that started it don't necessarily all work on the show anymore.
Yeah, but you and I both know wrestling is a totally different animal from being on a regular entertainment TV show, unless you're in WWE, which is nothing more than a TV show. So that's what I'm saying. It's a different animal. You know that as well as I do. Yes, you're right. Showrunners on The Simpsons, we've seen, whether it's writers like Conan O'Brien or, a lot of them that end up doing their own thing. That's different.
Well, those are writers. I'm talking about, like, the guys that produce the show.
Yeah,
like
they make other shows.
Yeah.
Everybody makes other shows. We're not talking showrunners here. We're talking executive vice president. This would be like Triple H leaving WWE to go AEW. Triple H is an executive vice president.
Well, I mean, that still wouldn't surprise me because he would just be doing it like in an office role at this point. I mean, I'm thinking the Young Bucks will eventually wrestle in a WWE
You can't
ring.
do WWE and AEW at the same time. That might actually give Vince the coronary.
No. I mean, he would leave, yes, but I mean, he wouldn't wrestle for AEW. I don't think he'd be a wrestler. I think he'd just be like a creative person for them. But if the Young Bucks left AEW, I think they would wrestle still for WWE.
I bet you Triple H would find a way to get in the ring at least once or twice.
You think so?
Yeah, easily. Sting does. Hell, he's looking at Dustin. Looks how young Dustin looks and says, "I could do that." Heck, we just saw him with Randy Orton a few weeks ago on Raw. I think Triple H would find a way to wrestle. I mean, think back to how long Terry Funk was in the ring or Lou Thez. A lot of those guys didn't leave the ring till their 70s.
Yeah. I mean, like, Triple H already has, like, 3 blown quads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and?
It's not as easy to come back from the next one.
You're right, it's not. But he'd find a way. So. All right, YouTube folks, we're going to get out of here. Check it out. You'll hear the show tomorrow night on the Horn. Again, as I said, check out my interviews, my reverse Super Bowl Radio Row. Check that out on hornfm.com. We'll see you next week right here. Same bat time, same bat channel.